here's your host, Paul Catalina.
So, Jacob, I think you were here a couple weeks ago when I was making, bi-weekly pleas to Cam Ward to make an excellent life decision and go to Florida State instead of Miami. Obviously,
I mean, he's doing this, but does it look like more like one finger to you as a Florida State?
I mean, it hurts that I took time out of my show to make an impassioned plea to you, which I thought was very heartfelt and sweet, and you decide to go to the University of Miami, although I think it's a good decision for him. He's going to get a lot of attention there. He's going to. They have an established offensive line. They've got other problems, but I do think it's going to be interesting to see Cam Ward in Miami next year. But it's still a huge deal because Miami was when Cam Ward said he was going to the NFL. Then they tried a whole bunch of other quarterbacks, and they brought in Reese Poffenbarger from Albany, and that was just they kind of just hit the wall on everything else, and they were getting to the point where it's well, who's it going to be now? Who's going to come there if all these other people said no? But Cam Ward coming should help them also get some of the transfers because they need help at running back, wide receiver. The offensive and defensive lines are pretty well built. That's kind of a Mario Cristobal specialty there. And I think the only thing that Cam Ward's really going to run into problematically at Miami is not sure Mario Cristobal is that dude yet. I have questions about his game day decisions
and his view of the clock and what his quarterback should be doing in certain situations against Georgia Tech. If you catch my drift, Which, for the record, Paul, I think you might have given Cam Ward some Stage 5 Klinger vibes because not only did he not go to Florida State, he went to Florida State's bitter rival.
Yeah, he did. I don't mean it was just. I would say they weren't creepy. Would you, Garrett?
No, they weren't creepy. They were justifiable. I think you made a good
kiss ass.
Yeah.
Look, they were fireside chats. I would say the vibe of that is hey, listen, everything's great in Tallahassee. Look,
fireside chats by you being Alec Baldwin and him being Adam Sandler, the canteen boy.
No, I don't think so. I'm thinking more FDR kind of a fireside chat. Yeah, those kind of things. Everything's going to be all right. Don't worry about it. But look, it'll be interesting. FSU got DJU, who I think will be really good in Mike Norvell's offense.
Yeah,
I think it's fine. I was fine either way. I was just a little surprised that he made this decision, but also today's the last day where you can declare for the NFL draft. So they had to make up their minds. And sometimes you get your draft thing back and they're like, yeah. And I think that's what he got was we think you've got some potential, but if you look at Cam Ward, if you're going to go to the draft and you're trying to be at least a day 2 pick, I don't think he was guaranteed to be picked in the first 2 rounds. And I think it would have gotten really dicey if you get to the 3rd round, because then at that point, at the 3rd round, if a team needs a quarterback today, then the 3rd round quarterback is usually not going to be the guy. That's more of a project guy. So it's probably better off for him because at that point, there's not going to be maybe a lot of picks in that round. And you could, as far as quarterbacks go, but in this particular draft, you're talking about Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, all before you.
And J.J. McCarthy.
J.J. McCarthy, all before you. And probably Michael Pratt from Tulane, all before you, right? Mm-hmm. So you have all those guys that are all before you. Well, if you get down to the 7th quarterback,
you might as well try and go and play another year at college and get a bigger payday next year.
Yeah, exactly. So, show what you can do because it's more wide open next year because the way I look at it right now, I think the 2 top quarterbacks nationwide coming back will be Carson Beck and Quinn Ewers as far as NFL guys go. And then you're going to have kind of a toss-up for, all right, well, let's see what DJU and Cam Ward have in the tank is 5th and 6th year guys. Riley Leonard. Let's see what he's got in the tank. Let's see what those guys are. And then there's going to be people we're not even talking about right now that wind up, in that mix. So that's what you do. And because right now it's not you. You're not one of those guys. So anyway, I like that's an interesting portal story. The way that some of these players are pouring out of Washington is very interesting. Let's see. There was another good one I wanted to throw at you. Oh, here's one. C.J. Daniels from Liberty. Garrett, I know you don't know a lot about him.
Yeah.
But he's a stats monster with Caden Salter and Jamie Chadwell's offense this year. He's on his way to your beloved LSU Tigers.
Well, I mean, if you look at LSU right now, you're definitely going to have to bring in some guys to replace Neighbors and them obviously go into the league. You're going to get Lacey back next year, but you definitely have a lot of holes to fill. If he's able to go out there and take the top off and just give Garrett Nussmeier a deep threat to work with, I think that could be valuable. I think LSU is going to have to really rely on Mason Taylor's progression this year and dumping down to him at the tight end position. But any help that they can bring in on the outside is valuable. I'm excited to see what he could do with the offense because that's going to be obviously a work in progress as well as you change offensive coordinators. But I'm looking forward to see what he could do on the Bayou. They definitely need a burner.
Yeah, they. But it looks like coordinator-wise, did they promote? What did they do? Offensive coordinator-wise?
I can't remember on that one. I got to go back and look. That's my bad.
Yeah. I know they brought in the whole new defensive staff, which was totally needed.
Much needed.
Yeah. Here's another one that is not a surprise. Alabama wide receiver Isaiah Bond, who left Alabama as soon as Nick Saban said he was leaving. And everybody's like, hey, where do you think Isaiah Bond's going to go? You think he's going to kick the tires in a place like Iowa State or Rutgers? No. Everybody said, hey, Isaiah Bond's probably going to wind up at Texas. He got on a plane, he flew to Austin, he took a visit, and guess what? He's now going to play at Texas. And that's a huge get for the Longhorns, who now will have two big-time really exciting transfer portal receivers in Matthew Golden and Isaiah Bond for Quinn Ewers to replace two really good players in Xavier Worthy and Adonai Mitchell. They're probably not going to miss a beat. And then Jonte Cook as a rising, I guess he'll be a sophomore, redshirt freshman.
He should be redshirt freshman, I believe.
Yeah, redshirt freshman. So you've got those three guys, not to mention whatever you figure out at tight end to make up for Jatavian Sanders. And I'm sure there's probably, 5 other wide receivers that'll wind up there. Who knows? But Sark goes and gets Isaiah Bond, and he's going to be fun in that offense if you're a Texas fan.
If you're a Texas fan.
Yeah. Yeah. There's Jacob's thoughts on that if you're a Texas fan. And another one that's interesting, Washington transfer cornerback Jabbar Muhammad, apparently going to visit Oregon and Texas, which – the one thing about the transfer portal, and this is probably a generational thing, and it does have to do with money, and it is free agency. So as someone who's a Red Sox fan, I've seen I've seen Wade Boggs and Johnny Damon and Roger Clemens and, countless people walk out the door and go to New York City and play for the Yankees. But college is just a little bit different. Like, I get if you're going to transfer, but clearly nothing was imparted on you by the student body that you would just go to the biggest rival. That one is the weird one to me. FSU just got an offensive lineman from Florida, and they got a defensive back from Miami. And while I'm thrilled with that, I still don't get it. Like, just as a student, if I just decided that Florida State was not the place for me, I know the two places I would have never gone after a couple years there would have been Florida and Miami. There's not a chance I would have gone to either of those places. And I was a regular student. Nobody from those schools hit me in a football game or talked trash to me, but it's just maybe a different thing. Like,
I'm right there with you. And like, These college kids that hit the portal, whether they're going to a rival or not, they don't have to commit to a multi-year contract the way that you do in free agency with pro sports that has, 4 years, $45 million, $20 million guaranteed. None of that. They can just get up and go. And after 1 year, if you are at one school and it's just 1 year of your life. Maybe you don't have that much of a commitment. And you see, hey, maybe they're going to offer me a little bit of cash to come here and play, and I'll have a better opportunity to see the field. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I get it.
Granted, I would never, tap Texas or Texas A&M or TCU with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, I mean, like, you just wouldn't do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just...
I'm petty like that.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, look, it's not working out for me here. I need to go play somewhere else. Like, I'll go anywhere but those two places. Who else is on the table? Because part of it was like, and maybe you don't have the emotion that I like a normal person would, and it's different. Like, it's different now.
You're telling me if Florida came and offered offensive lineman Paul Catalina a bag, you ain't going?
I mean, who else is offering me a bag?
Let's say, that's a good question.
I mean,
Like, again.
So let's say Clemson.
Okay,
Florida.
well, sorry, there's three.
All right, so Clemson, Florida. I don't know.
Give me four options. Give me a fourth option that's like, so Clemson, Miami, and Florida have all
And then
offered me a
Texas.
bag.
You get Texas because I know you're A&M style. So now you got to pick.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now what?
See, I've got...
no, these are all schools that you hate. I'll do three schools minus Texas. I'll do Clemson, Florida, and Miami. And then what's a big step down? Like a
big step down from them?
Yeah, like a Toledo or a Miami, Ohio, like a place that's
Throw in Tulane. Let's make it
Tulane.
wild. It's
All right, you know
interesting
what?
with Tulane.
Here's the deal. To stand on principle, even though this may not make good financial sense, I'm going to Tulane in New Orleans, a city I love.
Oh, what a drag!
okay,
You get to go hang
so
out
you
on
get
Bourbon
the
Street.
Food. All right, I bet. I
yeah,
like that.
so there we go. Now, if you told me it's like, Miami, Clemson, Florida, and say like Iowa, and like it's cold, then I'll tell you what. If I do have to pick between the three, if it's Clemson, Miami, and Florida,
Okay.
I'm picking Miami every time.
Why?
Every time. Well, first of all,
Just the beach, South Beach in general?
first of all, Gainesville, Florida is an absolute hole.
I can imagine that. Yes.
Miami's kind of cool, right?
that part of Florida, like the whole general part of Florida in the middle right there, like that little stretch is not the best. Like that's where not all
shorts and
but
wrestling alligators.
the Florida man, like this guy,
Has a pet gator and
Yeah.
some pythons in his backyard.
yeah, he tried to molest a panther. Like those kind of stories happen.
Where you from? You don't know gator.
Mostly in those like little areas. But Clemson, South Carolina, I'll just face it, Dabo and I would not drive.
It's not going to mesh, yeah.
Dabo and I wouldn't drive. Billy Napier and I might, because I do kind of like, I like Billy Napier. I know the Florida fans don't like him, but I kind of I like his general vibe. But look, if I'm going to go and just go for money and to have a good college football experience, I'm going to go to Coral Gables. Like The Rock went there. It can't, it can't be that bad. So that's where I would go if it was between those three. That's where I would it would just be well, I guess I'm going to Miami and,
Just gonna fully accept being a sellout if you have to choose between the three.
Look, which is what the whole city of Miami is about.
Embrace it, yeah.
I would fit in very well.
I could see you being the next Nevin Shapiro.
Look, here's the deal. If I could just go and pretend like I'm cool places, then I would fit in very well in Miami. I could very much see myself wearing the shirt unbuttoned down to here.
Chest hair hanging out.
Pinky ring.
Yeah. Gold chain.
Sandwich.
Yeah. Wearing a jacket, even though that's never really a requirement in Miami for any reason. That bothers me. I want to tell you, one of the things that bothers me when I watch television shows or movies that are set in Florida, especially when it's cop shows.
Yeah.
They'll be in the police station and they're like, hey, let's go talk to this guy. And then they'll grab a jacket off of a coat rack and then walk out the door. And I'm like, the people who made this show ever been in a building in Miami and seen a goddamn coat rack? I'm sorry. You haven't.
It's 88 degrees outside. No big deal.
You'll be fine. I don't know. Did you guys maybe just, here's the deal. I know you're shooting the show in Los Angeles more than likely, but I'm sure there's a budget for you to get on a Southwest flight and fly from, say, John Wayne to Fort Lauderdale, get in a rental car and drive around Miami and tell me how many people you see wearing jackets. You don't. Bothers me like crazy.
Yeah, there's a reason the Dolphins didn't fare well in that Kansas City weather.
Yeah. They were the minute. Okay, think about this for the Dolphins in Kansas City the other day. Tua has never won a game in a temperature less than 45 degrees. It felt like it was minus 30, so it felt 75 degrees colder than the coldest game he's ever won.
Nope.
Not 7 degrees colder.
I mean, from Hawaii,
75.
college in Alabama, now he's in Miami. What made you think that was going to go well?
No. He's like, I promise you, he walked out on that frozen hellscape and thought, like, I need to make my peace with God. This is where it ends for me. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about the NFL. Look, we're in the point of the year where college football can't fill up everything, and plus you'll just get kind of repetitive talking about it. The NFL playoffs were this weekend. There were some really good games. Most of them were actually really good games.
I'm just going to go.
And then a really terrible one.
I'm going to go grab a snowball and stuff it right in my underwear before this next segment, Paul.
This is the Triple Option on 365.